speaking as a teacher and as a student that went here as an alum, the big picture is the new Benson is magical. It is amazing. It's like a college campus. It really does feel like a community college campus. Some of the biggest changes overall, I think, moving the cafeteria out of the old basement and into this new kind of multi-purpose commons area in the center of the campus has served the overall design really well. Underneath the auditorium and underneath the library is where the cafeteria was for us. And a lot of us old Benson alums would describe it as kind of like a dungeon. It kind of really did feel like you crawled down into this basement-like dungeon cafeteria back in the day. And Benson, I think, up until this point was, one of the biggest, one of the most expensive remodels of any high school in the Portland area. So it's quite a heavy lift. We're a very unique, one of a kind, one of one, and some of the things that have to be done for us cannot be done by general contractor. We have to bring in broadcast engineers to complete and fine-tune the last finishing steps. It's just that we have a tiny budget that we have to work within, and that budget constraints only allow us to utilize our contract engineer for about 10 hours a week. We were in what is a science classroom next to the library for the first 3 months of the year, so that delayed any significant productivity or progress in our world. Not having access to the industry standard equipment that we used, the industry standard software that we used, and then I had to teach all of these workarounds to do it a different way, and that was its own extra work process in itself, which ultimately resulted in less of a quality of product, less of a quality of an education. It was heartbreaking for that senior class because it was delayed, and then even once we got into our classrooms, nothing was ready. No studios were ready, so on and so forth. But there's still parts of our puzzle that aren't finished. Our filming studio, video content creation studios aren't finished. The intercom system is working great. However, in the construction process of installing that intercom system, they did not use proper audio wiring. And what it has resulted in is our radio station is heard through the intercom system speakers throughout the entire building. And I often get students complaining about it. I often get teachers and colleagues complaining about it. We're hearing KBPS through the little speaker in the classroom. And I kind of laugh and chuckle, and I say, well, why are you complaining? I don't fault. It's tough to point a finger or lay any blame. I don't lay any blame on the construction people, on the people on the ground, the project designers, or even really, the district. It was just kind of one of those things where you don't know till you go. And then we go and we find out, and oh crap, here we are.
Yeah, I can definitely.
My name is Luke Hotchkiss. I was born at a very young age. I graduated from Benson in the class of 2000, and this is my 13th year teaching. And all of the people that I know that interacted with me, that worked for the Office of School Modernization and Bassetti Architects, they worked really hard, and they did a good job. But it's clear that at some level in the organizational structure, things broke down. And as we all know, the school wasn't really ready for us last year. And I can say from talking to the construction managers that there's something called substantial completion, which is when a project is officially done, and they didn't receive that for the entire school year last year. They might have it now backdated a little bit, but not while we were in school. So the project literally wasn't done. The biggest thing specific to the construction space is the noise of the dust collection system. it is a constant 80 decibels in the shop with just the sound of air being pulled away from the machines to take away any of the dust. 85 decibels is the level at which adults are required to wear hearing protection at all times. But my job also involves hearing students' questions. And so it's very impractical for me to wear hearing protection. And I think I am experiencing accelerated hearing loss due to the design of the dust collection system. What they did accomplish with it was they made sure that it was going to pull enough air and the contaminants in the air out of the system, and that it wasn't going to burn down and kill children in a fire, which I would agree are the two most important things about designing it. The dust collection system now, what's good about it is when it's time for cleanup at the end of class, I go over and hit the red button on the wall, pretty much everything turns off. What's bad about that system is that at the beginning of the year last year, for quite a few months, the dust collector that is up on the roof it doesn't work. And if that system doesn't work, that means none of our major tools down here work. We can just only use handheld tools. So that was a problem when we initially moved in for a few months, and that will be a problem in the future intermittently when problems occur with it. But it isn't in my contract as a teacher to do any repair work, but there isn't anyone in the system to do repair work. So that means either we have motivated TAs to change out mechanical parts on tools that could kill or maim students, or you have someone like me that just finds time to do it in between all of the other things that I'm doing. So that is a small example of when there's problems with the dust collector, there isn't really anybody that's qualified to fix it. But again, it's a beautiful space, it's nice, but in general, it's not gonna last. It was special to see, like the day before school started last year, the hundreds and hundreds of trades workers that were here like they were a student cramming for finals. And then just for months, every days we would come in and stuff that was working the day before wasn't working anymore because people were in here overnight working on stuff as they needed to due to all of the legitimate delays that they experienced. The sound of the air being sucked through the pipes sounds exactly like the sound of a motor running on a bandsaw. But students will use a machine and then walk away and leave it on. And that's going to happen with a bandsaw, where somebody's going to leave it on running and they walk away from it, and then you turn the dust collector off and you turn it on and all the bandsaws turn on again. Somebody is going to walk over to one of those at some point, assuming that the saw is off, but it's going to be running, and they're going to cut part of their body off on the saw due to the negligence of what has been constructed. And it's a bummer, and I don't know what to do about it.
This new building is amazing. I mean, it is the most expensive school in Oregon for a reason. It is beautiful. I have this gorgeous giant classroom, which is really fun to teach in. It really works well for my subject matter, where we're doing a lot of different things. It's almost like a maker space. So I absolutely love the new building. I love my classroom and the whole gallery that the DMP department shares. It's been a major upgrade from Marshall, obviously. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, one of my teaching spaces was one of the spaces that for some reason wasn't built the way that it should have been. We had plans for a video production studio, which has a beautiful white seamless wall for, really creating different environments with light. It's really necessary for interviews, for recording dialogue, for making a lot of movie magic happen. And unfortunately, it's one of the loudest rooms in the building. So I really can't even use it for what it was built to do. I was really excited to be able to have a space where the cameras were set up, where we were doing a lot of interviews, doing a lot of dialogue, just doing a lot of audio and visual things, just really teaching in that space. But with the sound, it's from the vent, and so it's this really loud blowing air sound, which you can adjust in post to get some of that background noise, but it's an extra step, and a lot of times students, video production is already a lot of steps, so adding another thing, audio repair, is something that not my beginner students can do necessarily. It's really unfortunate. I do want to say that the small team that's still here to finish up some of the things, I know it's on their list and they seem very earnest about wanting to fix it. Not really sure. They don't really know how they're going to fix it. There's a few different ideas. One is like blowing insulation foam all over the vents. Another idea is to put a ceiling in to mask some of the sound. But as far as I've heard, there's not a plan set to fix it. But I'm hoping that they will, and thank you for fixing it eventually.